and welcome to CI in Under 5. My name is John Weezy, and in this video I'll be completing the two-part series on the DevOps process, or how do you copy environments. In the first part, I showed you how to do that using the environment copy functionality when you create a new environment. But as I mentioned, you can't do that when you're copying information from a trial into another trial, or if you are copying from one tenant to another tenant. So here I have the CI/AD demo, which we can look at. That's my environment here. We'll notice that the instance is D2CB and that it has a bunch of data in it. So I have data sources set up. I have activities set up. I have measures. I have segments. And I've indexed my customers so that I can search them. So how do we go about doing this? Well, we're going to have to use the APIs. So let's go ahead and let's jump over to a new tab. And we'll go through and we'll jump over to our Swagger page for our APIs. So if you aren't familiar with this, we have this lovely page that shows all of our APIs for you, where you can go through and see what's available. In our case, we're going to do something pretty basic. So we're going to go down here to the instances. And we're really, for this part, we're concerned with this first instance. So what we're going to do is click the little button over here that allows us to authorize. We're going to click API access and hit authorize. That's going to go off and authorize us. We can close that. And we're going to open the instances and we are going to say try it out and then execute. This is going to go ahead and go off and run the API instances, which will retrieve our instances. Here we can see that I have two instances in this particular environment. The one we're interested in is this CI demo, CI/AD demo. And what we're going to do with CI/AD demo is we're really concerned with this very first part here, because what we want to do is take this and we're going to copy that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and replace the word global with that part of it so that we are pointing at the same APIs but only on a different server. This is just to get around a potential issue we could run into where the global traffic manager points us to the wrong place. So we're going to change over to that one. Now we're going to go down to instance management. And in instance management, we have an export and we have an import. So in this case, we're going to use the export. Again, we're going to have to authorize. So we'll click over here, click API and authorize. And now that it's done, what we're going to do is we're going to click here and say try it out. It wants the instance ID. So I'll jump back over to my other window and we'll grab the instance ID from the URL. And we're going to go ahead and dump that in here and say execute. That's going to go off and run, and we're going to get back this really nice response of JSON. We have a handy little download button over here on the right that we can click on. And so what I'll do is I will click on the download button, wait for it to download my response, and go ahead and click open. Okay, so that brings us into this JSON file, and what we really want to do is we just want to dig through this to find the user information, because we don't want to copy the user account from the old tenant or the old instance into the new instance. We want to make sure that that is not going to happen and potentially causes issues from an access perspective. So we're going to continue to collapse these as we go down. So this is all of the JSON for each of the different data sources that we've set up, and eventually we'll get down to here where we set up the data flows for bringing in each of those. So we go through all of those, and we're getting into, as you can see from some of the names, if you're familiar, some of the different measures and things that we set up, each of the different things that we've created. Here we're starting to get down into some of the rest of the different ones, including the segments here, high value customers and summer promotion. We get down here and we get into the relationships. So we're just going to collapse these down. And what I'm looking for is this one right here. So you see here where we get down to a section that talks about the principal ID, the role being admin, and the role assignment, and all that fun stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part out of the JSON, and then we have some more of our relationships there. And I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump back over to my window. And what I really want to do is I want to import that in a different place. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to a different browser that I have opened on this brand new Contoso trial that has nothing in it. You can see here, completely different instance ID. And what I'm going to do is basically the same thing that I just did previously. I'm going to go to the global API, and I'm going to authenticate for API access. And then I'm going to close that, and I'm going to go down and look for our get instance again. I'm sorry, our instances. Here we go. I'm going to click retrieve, try it out, and find out where I am. So this one happens to be in prod US West. So I'm going to copy that, replace it up here, connect again, and I'm going to then authenticate again here since I'm now on a new server. And then I'm going to close that. Again, go down, and in this case, I'm looking for instance management right here. We ran the export in the other one. Here we're going to run import. And what I need to do is click try it out. I need to give it the instance ID. So I'm going to flip back over here, copy my instance ID, put that in here, and then I need to give it the JSON. So here I'm going to flip back over. I'm just going to Control A, copy, and Control V, paste it in here. And then I can click execute. That's going to go off and run, and as long as it works, I should get a success back. Okay, and that can take a minute or two to run, so just let that run to completion. And you see that my response body is true, meaning it did work. So if I come back out here and I refresh, we'll see that I have data sources now. So as you can see, the credentials need to be updated just like before. So just like in the first video, you can go through here, set up the credentials for each of the data sources. Once you've done that, go through the unification process and simply run the match and the merge. And then everything else will kick off, including the activities, the measures, the segments, and then finally the customers. And you may have to go in and set up the indexing on customers before that will work, but everything else will then work like it should. So that is how you copy an environment from one trial instance to another, or from one tenant to another. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll tune in again for other sessions.